Okay, let's get into this. Um, you know that feeling, right? When you're just mentally wiped out.
Oh, definitely.
Even if you haven't, like, run a marathon or anything, it feels like your thoughts themselves are just draining all your energy.
Yeah, like an internal marathon you didn't sign up for.
Exactly. And that's basically what we're digging into today. This surprising power our inner world has, how it actually shapes our reality.
Hmm.
We've been looking really closely at chapter 5 of Your Inner Alchemist, Energy Mastery for Abundance. And it's all about, getting a handle on those thoughts and beliefs.
The ones that can either, well, drain us or really fuel us.
Right. So think of this as maybe a shortcut to understanding how that mental energy works and, importantly, how you can start directing it, for positive change.
And what's really fascinating, I think, is this core idea that our thoughts aren't just, well, fleeting things. They actually carry energy, a kind of energetic signature.
Oh,
So when we get stuck in those negative loops, worry, self-criticism, all it really does create this internal drag.
mm-hmm.
It pulls down our overall energy.
Yeah.
And this chapter strongly argues that mastering that inner dialogue, that's fundamental,
Hmm.
absolutely key to feeling more energetic, more resilient.
And more aligned with what you actually want to achieve.
Exactly.
Yeah, that really hit me too. How these thoughts we just keep repeating, they sort of harden into beliefs.
Like carving grooves in the mind.
Yeah. Like our brains get super efficient at thinking certain things, making these really well-worn mental paths. And crucially, they're not passive.
No, not at all.
They actively influence how we see ourselves, what opportunities we even notice.
Right, and our automatic reactions to things.
So a big takeaway, kind of right off the bat, is just learning to spot those energy-sucking thought habits and then consciously starting to, pave some new roads, more supportive ones.
And if we sort of zoom out a bit, look at the whole picture of energy mastery.
Mm.
It becomes clear this isn't just about trying to force positive thinking.
No, it's deeper than that.
It really is. It's about building a solid internal foundation.
Yeah.
The chapter argues that real, lasting change, the kind that leads to, genuine abundance and well-being, it has to start from a place of inner awareness.
Awareness and self-acceptance. That was the other big piece.
Profound self-acceptance, yeah.
That part felt, well, almost counterintuitive at first, didn't it?
I can see it that way.
Like trying to fix something while yelling at it. The book talks about this process of really tuning in, noticing thoughts, feelings, even physical sensations.
But without judging them instantly, without labeling them good or bad.
Right, just observing, seeing what's actually there.
And this connects to why self-acceptance is so incredibly powerful. The chapter actually quotes Carl Rogers.
Oh yeah, I remember that quote.
He said, "The curious paradox is that when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change."
It's strange, but it makes sense when you stop fighting yourself.
Yes. When you embrace all of it, the parts you like, the parts you're, still working on, you free up so much energy.
Energy that was tied up in that internal battle.
Exactly.
Like driving with the parking brake on, you said, using tons of fuel, but...
Not getting very far.
So, okay, the chapter then gives some really practical ways to start building this awareness and acceptance, like mindful reflection.
Setting aside a bit of quiet time each day.
Just to watch your thoughts and feelings, kind of like clouds passing.
Yeah.
Without getting swept up.
Yeah, focusing on the breath can help anchor you. It's about being a detached observer almost.
And it's important, like you said, not to aim for a totally blank mind. That's just frustrating.
Right. It's not about stopping thoughts. It's about changing your relationship to them, just witnessing.
Okay. And then affirmations of acceptance.
Yes, those simple positive phrases,
Right.
like, I accept myself as I am.
Repeating those helps rewire things.
Gradually, yes. It helps dismantle some of those ingrained negative beliefs about ourselves, fosters self-compassion.
And journaling, too. I love journaling, getting it all out.
It's such a powerful tool for self-discovery, isn't it? The book frames it as a safe space for honesty.
Yeah, to really see those limiting beliefs that might be like running the show behind the scenes.
And then this is key, consciously starting to replace the self-criticism.
With more acceptance, more compassion.
Exactly. That active replacement is crucial. It's not just about noticing the negative.
You have to cultivate the positive alternative.
Right. And embodying compassion comes into play here too. Treating yourself kindly, especially when things are tough.
Like you would a friend.
Precisely. Seeing setbacks as growth opportunities, not proof you're flawed.
Okay, so we build this foundation, awareness, acceptance. How does that make other energy practices like meditation or breath work more effective?
Ah, this is where it gets really synergistic.
Mm.
The chapter explains these practices become much more potent when grounded in that inner peace,
So, like, if you're meditating and a critical thought pops up,
instead of getting annoyed or judging yourself for it.
which just adds more tension.
Exactly. You just observe it with acceptance. Ah, there's that thought again, and gently guide your focus back.
So that internal resistance just dissolves.
It really does. It allows for a much smoother energy flow. The self-criticism is like a kink in the hose.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. Acceptance smooths it out.
Mm-hmm. And the chapter mentions you can even direct this awareness to physical tension during meditation, noticing where you hold judgment or resistance in your body.
And just by accepting it, it can start to release.
Often, yes,
Yeah.
organically. So
Mhm.
it's not about forcing, it's about allowing through acceptance.
Okay. And the knock-on effects, what are the benefits beyond the practices themselves?
Well, improved focus is a big one. A quieter inner state naturally leads to better concentration.
Makes sense. Less internal noise.
Emotional resilience, too. You're less likely to be thrown off balance by self-doubt if you're not constantly fighting it.
Right. And interactions with others.
Can become more authentic
Yeah.
because you're coming from a place of more self-awareness and less sort of neediness for external validation.
Okay, so we're getting more aware, more accepting, but what about those really deep, stubborn, limiting beliefs? The ones that feel like they've always been there.
Yeah, the chapter defines those as those core restrictive thoughts, often from childhood, past experiences, or just that relentless inner critic.
Like, I'm not good enough, or I'll never succeed at this, or...
I don't deserve happiness,
Yeah.
things like that. And it highlights how they act like energy leaks,
Leading to self-sabotage.
holding us back. Yeah. So the first step, again, is awareness, bringing them into the light,
Hmm.
consciously noticing when they're dictating feelings or actions.
And that belief journal exercise sounds perfect for that.
It really does.
Writing them down, not as facts, but as beliefs, and
Yeah.
then asking, okay, where did this come from?
Mm-hmm. And crucially, is it actually serving me now? Is it helpful?
Just getting it on paper creates distance.
Exactly. You can examine it more objectively instead of being totally consumed by it.
And from there, the next step is reframing.
Yes. Reframing negative thoughts, which is basically consciously choosing a different perspective, a more constructive one,
Like the example they gave, changing, I always mess things up.
to something like, I am learning and growing through every experience.
It's subtle but powerful, shifts you from judgment to growth.
Absolutely. And the suggestion to actually write down alternative perspectives for your common negative thoughts, that feels like a really solid daily practice.
Yeah, retraining the brain to look for more empowering interpretations.
Building on that, the chapter talks about using affirmations and mantras strategically.
Okay, affirmations being those positive statements we repeat.
Right. To reinforce the beliefs we want to have, to deliberately counteract the negative self-talk.
So instead of that automatic I can't, you consciously feed yourself, I am capable and confident.
Or that really powerful one, my thoughts shape my experience and I choose to focus on the positive, reminding yourself of your agency.
And mantras, how are they different?
They often have a more meditative feel, shorter, focused phrases. Sometimes Sanskrit like Om Mani Padme Hum, or simpler ones like I am present or I am enough.
Used more for anchoring in the moment, calming stress.
Often, yes. They help foster that inner calm and clarity, especially when things feel overwhelming.
Which leads nicely into the idea of a growth mindset. That seems fundamental to all of this.
Absolutely essential for long-term thought mastery. It's that core belief, isn't it, that skills aren't fixed,
Right, that you can develop abilities through effort and learning.
as opposed to a fixed mindset where you're terrified of failure because you think it defines your inherent ability.
So the chapter suggests things like embracing challenges.
Seeing them as learning opportunities, exactly, and celebrating small wins.
That reinforces progress.
And seeking feedback not as criticism, but as, useful data for growth.
Okay. Now, there were also some maybe less common techniques mentioned for really fine-tuning thought mastery,
Yeah, like visualization.
mentally rehearsing success.
Pretty much. It's like giving your brain a preview, which can actually strengthen the neural pathways that support making it happen for real.
So picturing yourself nailing that presentation actually helps you nail it.
It can significantly boost confidence and reduce anxiety, yeah. The suggestion to use it before important events is really practical.
And anchoring positive states. That sounded intriguing.
It is. Associating a physical gesture like squeezing your fist or touching your thumb and finger with a positive feeling or memory.
So you can trigger that feeling on demand.
That's the idea. Like creating a quick shortcut to feeling calm or confident or focused just by doing the gesture.
Wow. And essential oils for
Yeah.
mental clarity.
Yeah, a brief mention of aromatherapy. Certain scents like rosemary, peppermint, lemon are known for being invigorating, helping with focus.
Another tool for the toolkit, maybe?
Potentially, yeah. Anything that helps create a supportive mental environment.
So the chapter then kind of pulls it all together into a daily practice suggestion.
A three-step routine to really weave these techniques into everyday life.
Start the day with an affirmation, one that aligns with your goals.
Right. Write it, say it, keep it visible, whatever works.
Then a midday check-in.
Yeah. Just a quick pause. Notice your thoughts. Consciously reframe any negative ones that have crept in.
And then evening visualization. Ending the day picturing success.
Visualizing positive outcomes, feeling the positive emotions associated with them. It sounds like a really manageable but effective daily structure.
Definitely. And then it shows how to apply all this in action. Like if you have a difficult conversation coming up or a big project.
Exactly. You'd consciously identify any limiting beliefs popping up about it.
Like I'm going to mess this up or they won't listen.
Right. Then you'd proactively reframe those thoughts. Use affirmations to build confidence. I communicate clearly and effectively.
Visualize the conversation going well. Maybe even anchor a feeling of calm before you start.
Precisely. It's about being intentional with your inner state before and during the challenge.
And it really comes back to that core idea. Consistent practice is what rewires the brain.
Absolutely. Little by little, you train yourself to default to more empowering beliefs.
And as the beliefs shift, the actions tend to follow, creating that positive upward cycle, more energy, better results.
So yes, as we wrap up this deep dive, the big picture is, well, our thoughts and beliefs are incredibly powerful. They're energetic forces shaping our reality.
More than just background noise.
Much more. And we saw that self-awareness and, crucially, self-acceptance are the bedrock, the foundation for any real inner change.
And we've got this whole toolkit now: mindful reflection, affirmations, reframing, visualization.
Practical ways to actively engage with our thoughts and transform those limiting beliefs that hold us back.
And the really hopeful message, I think, is that by doing this work, by consciously tending to our inner world,
We can build resilience, cultivate optimism.
unlock so much potential for growth. It's about aligning our minds with what we truly aspire to.
Which brings us to a final thought for you, the listener. Think about one limiting belief that maybe surfaced for you as we talked. Just one. What's one small, actionable thing you could do today, like right now or later today, to start reframing it? Just one tiny step to open yourself up to a new possibility.
Because this inner alchemy, it's a journey, right?
It absolutely is. And every single conscious step, no matter how small it feels, can make a real difference.